let's continue to order section and product section. So we need to understand what will be the schema for product. Okay, so quickly, product will have a couple of things: email, name, price, description, stock, meaning when you insert new product, you will add the stock, maybe 20 products. Okay, and also product must belong to a category. So if you're going to have 3 categories or 10 categories, and then every time you add a product, you have to assign that product to a specific category. Okay, so to start, it will be very simple. And also the last part is image. Okay, so product may have multiple images. Okay, now so let's define product schema. Okay, here we need to, before product, I think we need to define a category, because we say product must belong to a category. It belongs in which category? So, but it's not necessary, of course. You may decide not to arrange those for default, auto increment. So a category will have an ID of auto increment, and also a name, should be a string. Okay, and then db varchar 200, and also created that. So I'm going to copy this. It's the same. I don't want to waste time much here. And then okay, and then now let's add a model of a schema for product. Okay, so product will have okay, I'm copying this because it's the same ID and name, and then I'm going to modify them. Okay, so name, product may have a price, it's a must to have a price, not may have a price. It is a must to have a price. Okay, I'm keeping it a string. I will handle the parsing and converting it. Description, maybe the description of the product, what is it, and then okay, so description, we may put it, we may leave it as a string. And also stock. Okay, stock maybe it will be a string. And also category ID. So here we're going to reference, so when you this product may belong to which category. So category may have, one category may have and many product. Okay, so we're going to say category. Okay, category, and then we add the relationship, and this is how you do it. Field is category ID, field meaning here in this field, in this model, and then reference is going to be the ID. So once you did, I think in Prisma it format for us. So here it added here. So category now will have a lot of, one category may belong, one category may have many products. Okay, so this is how we're going to do it, and of course we're going to see how do we assign that category to a product. Okay, so what we are doing here, it means when you go to this category, we may have a capability also to fetch our product that belongs to this category. Okay, and that's what we need to do. Okay, so one last part is image. So I need the image, what we need and what we're going to do is image, we're going to store the string because we're going to save them on Cloudinary. So it's a platform that handles for us images and all, storing all those kind of media stuffs. Similar to the AWS. Okay, so we only need the reference of those images, the string. We don't want to store them here in our local file, or if it's saved in the same server. So we're going to what we're going to do is all the images will be stored on Cloudinary, and then we will get back the URLs for those images, and then we're going to store those URLs on our database. And anytime we fetch this product, we're going to get also all the images that belongs to that product. So in a simple way, we were supposed just to say images is going to be a list of string, but MySQL doesn't support that. So the workaround is to create its own table, which we will use the product ID to be able to differentiate these images for this product. Okay, so what we're going to do here is the same. We copy these. Okay, here we're going to say this is URL, and we don't need to put this virtual. And what we're going to do here is we're going to say this image belongs to which product. So we need the product ID, and then product relation field, the product ID, reference, it's an ID. Good. So what is going to happen here now, anytime we store these images, meaning a list of images, because we're going to have these capabilities of adding multiple images, all those images, when we save product, we're going also to save the URLs of those images that were uploaded, and we're going to assign the product ID for each image. So this means when we pull the product, all the product, we are going to also to have a capability to have access to all the images that are associated to that product. So that's why we need to add the product ID. Okay, so I think for here it's enough. Now we're going to see how to create. We mean to store the images and also to store the product. So we're going to use Cloudinary because I think it is simple for now, but the similar approach is also possible for AWS and any cloud provider that they provide file storage services. Okay, so now let's go to let's generate resource, call these products. Okay, so it's going to generate for us, and then we're going to use REST API to manage all those endpoints and implement creating product and getting all those products. And I think also we need, without forgetting it, we need also generate resource for the category. So the categories, they need to be inserted first or stored, and then we will use their specific ID to assign the product a specific ID of to assign that category to a specific product. So we're going to use that category ID. Okay, so let's continue. Defining our schema, we need also to make sure we run this migration, and then this is going to add this table to MySQL. Okay, so just migrate, and here we can see we say product model migration to SQL, create category, the product, and also product image, and also some constraints for key and all that. Okay, so now I think we are good. We can also continue. We can now also continue to okay, so PHP Storm also has a database, so I just normally don't use much of it. MySQL, what did I do? Okay, root, I just see it as so small but it's a good. Okay. It's just to a lot of things happening here, so I usually use. Okay. Okay. Users. I don't know. So how do I find my created MySQL? I don't remember. No. Data source. Anyways, I normally don't use this because it's too small here. I don't want to manage a lot of stuff on the same IDE. Okay. So what we're going to do now, we are going to deal with category first, because what's going to happen is when you are adding a product, you need to say that this product belongs to this category. Okay, so we need to make sure category APIs, and we have some categories already in the database before adding product. Okay, so what we need to do now is to go to the category first, and then let's add the DTO for the category, but because of a generic resource, it will create for you a boilerplate for create category DTO. So what we need in category is just the name of the category. We're not going to go so much advanced, so we're going to say this is not empty. Okay, the name is just a name. We need a name. Okay. Yes. Okay, it's string just imported for me. Okay, so this is all we need for category. It's just a simple module. No, we don't need to complicate it much. Okay, so after making sure the DTO are ready, we will go to category. Remember, we are going to interact with database using Prisma client, right? So we have already exported the Prisma module, Prisma service, so we're going to use it anywhere that we will import the module itself. Okay, so here also we need to import Prisma module. Okay, just add this. Okay, Prisma module, and then after here we can have access to the services itself. Okay, we are only focusing on having the service itself. Okay, now here we just constructor, and then we add the Prisma service. Okay, that's all for now, and we're going to go to, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to handle the logic for creating and also handle the logic for finding or getting all those, because that's the only thing we need right now. Okay, then later on we can do update and also find one. Okay, so now we have the DTO. Now what we need to do is to create that category. So we will need to take the name of that category from the request. Okay, this dot prisma dot category dot create. The data itself is create category DTO. Okay, and this needs to be an async. Okay, an async, and also I think here it's just an error, and then here Okay, so we are going to check if there's no category. I will have a dedicated section to manage and having a proper error entering and proper API response for all these services. So there's going to be one structure for all, because it is necessary to do that. So when there's on the client side, there is a mechanism, a specific mechanism to catch errors and to have the response. You will make their life easier on the front end side. Okay, so you need also to make sure that's something that it needs to be considered. Okay, so here category. Okay, so that's it. So it will create a category in return for us. Okay, and then also in find all, we're going to say an async. Okay, then it just we promise it's a category from Prisma client. Okay, a list of category. Okay, and here we're just const categories. Okay, await this dot Prisma, so dot category dot find many, but there's no param any, we're not filtering, so we will get all of them. Okay, so here we are going to of course we're going to return the categories here, and if no categories, they just throw an exception. Something went wrong, then okay, here, okay, okay, that's it. Okay, so the controllers, nothing we're going to change here, it's going to be the same. So let's test this. Okay, we have API test and category, and then we're going in the body, we need the name, and then you're going to say name. Let's say we call this electronics. Okay, oh, before we're doing that, let's open run start. Okay, the port is already in use. Oh, sorry, I need to close this. Sorry, I was testing stubs, and then after that I think we need to run it again. Okay, that's good. Now we can go and test it out. Okay, good, it's okay. And then we can also add fashion. Good. And what if we change this to get? Good. Okay, so it's just as simple. So the meaning of doing this is that always when we're creating a category, the product, it means we need to know which category ID. So from the back end, it is good, we have to do it manually, but from the front end, you only list this, and then once you select one of these, which we will do in the web app. Okay, so when you select electronics, we will get the ID automatically. But for testing purpose here in the backend, we need to take it manually and put it on our request. Okay, so we will see how to do that. So that's good. Now let's go to product and then work on it and make sure we implement creating the product and also getting all those products. Now we're going to work on product, creating endpoints for product. So in product, instead of not only we are going to store information about that product, but also we're going to store the images for that product. We can store multiple images for that particular product. So it means we need to find a way to make sure those images are well stored and also are well retrieved on the client side so that image can be seen by the user. Okay, so what we need to do, we're going to use Cloudinary for storing those images. Cloudinary is just a service, a platform that they focusing on dealing with media. You can store images, videos. You can do a lot of manipulations on your videos or images. So it's a good platform. Okay, so we need to configure Cloudinary and handle all those necessary steps that we require to do before having that access to store those images. So what we're going to do, we're going to configure Cloudinary on our NestJS, and then when we are taking those images from our request, we're going to process them and then we're going to store them on Cloudinary. And then Cloudinary by default, it has a mechanism to give you the URL of where that image has been stored, and that URL, we're going to use that URL to save the URL on the database. So when we are pulling information of that product, also we can pull the images that are associated with that product, and that so that the product can be seen, what it is, and all those stuff. So let's configure Cloudinary really quick. We need to install, because we are using NestJS, which is just a Node.js framework. We need to install we can use Node.js documentation here to configure this. So we need to install Cloudinary, okay, and okay, that's good. Now, okay, so we need to configure stuffs. Cloudinary, in order to interact with it, you need to make sure you sign up, okay, and after sign up, you're going to have your API key, secret key, and Cloudinary name, and those are the necessary things that we need in order to communicate with Cloudinary and handle our implementation of making sure we store those images on our Cloudinary account. Okay, so what I need to do here, in source, I want to configure stuffs here. So we're going to create a new directory, and then you can call it config. Okay, and then inside here, we're going to the TypeScript app config dot no, okay, no need of TS because it's there. Okay, so what we're going to do here, we're going to do registering and configuring the environment variables to get that information, because what you need to do is to take that Cloudinary API key, secret key, and Cloudinary name, okay, and you need to store that on your env, on your project, those information, and then we're going to use NestJS config to make sure we we configure those keys, and then when we need them, we're going to use NestJS config to load those information, those environment variables. Okay, so what we need to do is export default register as, this is from app as app config. Okay, and then let me write, and then I'll explain it for you. And then here we need to, it's not getting it, so let's do this. Okay, so import register as from NestJS config. Okay, wait a minute, maybe I think I need to something, maybe we need to install. Okay, I don't, either it's coming with it or we need to install it. Let me check here. No, so it's not coming with it, so we need to npm NestJS config. Okay, I thought it was this is a package that it is coming with it by default. So my mistake. So we need to just make sure we install NestJS config, and then let's get back here, and then here I think it will clear the issue, and then it will NestJS config. Now what you do is you write the name of that. We need Cloudinary name, go to process.env.cloudinary cloud name. Okay, so these are in my environment variables. Just copy them, name them, and then paste the value, okay, that you're going to get from the Cloudinary dashboard, your own dashboard. Okay, and then process.env. API key, okay, Cloudinary API key, Cloudinary. So there is also Cloudinary secret key, and then process.env.cloud API secret. Okay, so this is how you register your values, and then you can use this with the help of the name, and then you can get those values anywhere. I will show you how do you get this value anywhere. Okay, this is an important thing to make sure you understand. So we use NestJS config to register all those environment variables that we need, and then with this we can have the ability to load those values when on any class that we need a specific value. So this is mostly important or mostly used when you're dealing with third parties. You need to take those values, maybe secret key, API keys, and then you on the specific method within your class, and then you can use a config to load that information and to process it. Okay, so let's continue. So after registering this, we Cloudinary name, Cloudinary API key, and secret key. We need to go to app module and configure this NestJS config. Okay, so we are going to go to here, config module.for root. Okay, and then we want to say this is global, so we don't have to import it on any module. Okay, so it will be global, and there's this that is a very important to load. You need to load those configurations that you have. Where did you handle the registering of this config? Okay, so you need to import app config from app config, and then here you load. So here it is in array, so it means you can add a lot, many configuration that you've done. Okay, so register app config. So with this, it means we're going to see how we're going to access all those environment variables on any file that we need to, in order to process a certain functionality, or in order to interact or communicate with our external APIs, which for us here is Cloudinary. Okay, so now let's see how we're going to use those information to make sure we implement imaging, upload, and getting the URLs for those images. Okay, loading and configure these configurations. So with these settings, we are going to have have access to config module on any module that we add. There is no need to import this config module on any modules with the use of is global to true. Okay, now let me do this. So what we need to do, I'm going to create a specific module that's going to call media. We're going to call it media, and then anyways, no, I don't need. Okay, so we're using this as media, so it is not necessary, but maybe if you have a lot of media stuffs dealing with media configuration, image dealing with external, maybe AWS or any informations or implementations that involves dealing with media. So it's not necessary, okay? So, but I just wanted to have its own module. So what we're going to do here in media, we are going to make sure we configure the Cloudinary and handle all those necessary configuration for Cloudinary to be able to have to communicate with our. Okay, so here what we need to do is call the constructor and then read only, and we need to load the API keys and all API secrets in order for Cloudinary to authenticate it and handle the implementation of storing those images for us and giving us the URL for it. So what we need to do here is to just do configurations for Cloudinary's part. Okay, so config service, that is coming from NestJS. Okay, and then here in our constructor we need to do that kind of configuration. So we'll just need to import it first. So import v2. So let me do this. I want to take this one, okay, and then copy it and then paste it here. Okay, and then with that we're going to use cloudinary.config. Okay, and then it needs all those information. It needs a cloud name, And how do you get that cloud name? Remember, we're going to get it from config.service.get, and the type of it is a string. So this is how you get that information, and we call it as appconfig. We register it as appconfig dot make sure you don't dot cloudinary name, okay? Because if you mistaking by default, by any mistake you didn't I'm not in Flutter, so string is in lowercase, okay? And then it needs API key, so API key, okay? You get that from config service.get. It's a string type, okay, and then app config dot, let me just copy the name, Cloudinary API key, okay, and then the last one is API secret, config service.get. It's a string, app config dot Cloudinary secret key. Good. Okay, so what we're doing here is do those configurations so we can be able to communicate with Cloudinary, and Cloudinary will authenticate this information, and then it will give us capability to store these images on our account. Okay, so make sure you sign up first, and then you will go to your dashboard. You will have all this available there, and then you can do necessary configurations and add those secret information, secret keys and API keys on the config as we did, and it will load from the environment variables, and then this is how we're going to use to get those information. And then with here, it means whenever we are interacting with media service, we are making sure this is available. We are making sure Cloudinary has any necessary information in order to authenticate and handle all other business logic. Okay, so now let's implement to upload those images. So remember, we're going to make sure we can upload multiple images. Okay, so we're going to implement that method that can upload those multiple images and also give us back the URLs for those images. Okay, after adding this in the constructor, and Cloudinary will handle the rest for authenticating and making sure this is a valid keys and secret and cloud name. Okay, after that, I've added this simple method that communicate with Cloudinary, and it will upload the images and on the folder called products, and the resource type here, it's an image. And then if there's an error, it will reject with the use of promise, and then if there's no error, it will resolve and return to us secure URL. And this is what we need, the secure URL. We're going to use that secure URL to store those URLs on our own database, and then we're going to use those URLs to get the image. Okay, so after this, I think we are done for Cloudinary. Now this will handle the rest for uploading and giving us back the result. It's a response which has a lot of things, but also we just need a secure URL here. Okay, now we are done with uploading these images to Cloudinary. Of course, we didn't test anything, okay, but this is steps and setups that we need to do. Okay, so now we need to go to product. But before going to product, remember we are going to need this. So we're going to export media service. Okay, we need this, so we're going to export it. Now we can go to product, and these are and very, very important things that you make sure you understand and remember. Okay, and we need to import media module. With this, we are pretty sure that we can have access to media service and interact with it. Now let's go to our DTO, create product DTO. Now let's handle this. We need to okay, so we need to, of course, we need a string for a name, and it's not empty. The name of that product must not be empty. Okay, and also class validators has a lot of tools. There's also custom validators where you define your own logic and of handling that particular request is not empty. And price, of course, it has to be in a good format like float, all that, but let's not complicate stuff. We will do those conversion to our, in order to, so it's not empty, to calculate the price and all those stuffs. Okay, so description, this is just a description of a product, like what it is, what features that that product contain, and also we need a string is not empty, and also that is a category ID. So we will assign that product with a specific category ID. Okay, this is very, very important, so make sure there is not empty. And also is string and is not empty, the stock. So when you add the product, you need also to add the stock, how many product you want to put, like how many products are in the store. So this is important, so we will, to make sure that if the user is requesting for a quantity that is greater than what is available in the store, we cannot process that. Okay, with this it's okay, we're done with it. We can go to our services and the business logic for adding the product. Okay, so I forgot one thing. This NestJS has a built-in stuff for handling for Multer, which is middleware that process this file upload and all the stuffs. But because we're dealing with TypeScript, make sure you add these types for Multer. Okay, and this is where we strictly explain what is the file it is. So with the help of this, okay, now go to product service. So now here what we're going to do is we're going to communicate with the media service first. The media service will focus on uploading those images and return to us the URLs. Okay, so the list of URLs, and then when we're creating a product, we're going to also to create the product image, which we will assign the product ID. Okay, so the image, the table will have also the product ID for that URL. Okay, and when we're pulling it, it will be easy because we will get all the images that are associated with that product. Okay, with the help of product ID. So if you can remember here in the schema, okay, the product this, it's going to be its own table. It's going to have a URL. This is going to, we are going to have store the URL, like they are like links of that image in the product ID. So whenever we are creating the product, we also add that URLs of that product by also passing the ID. So when we are pulling the product, we're going also to pull the table of images, all the images that they are associated with that product. So we're going to see how easy that, okay? But with other database like NoSQL, there's good way of documenting that. You can use list of string, which is very convenient and easy, but this is just one of the way in MySQL, because they don't support a list of string. I think maybe in the future they can have those kind of APIs to facilitate. So now let's see how we're going to create that product. Let's handle the business logic, and then we'll go to controllers, where we will deal with those files and do all those kind of validations and ensuring we are having the exact file format, because we don't want PDF or any extension that doesn't relate to the image. So the image has to have the extension that we know that this is a extension for an image. So we're going to see how to handle, to implement those kind of validations and ensure that no one upload also images that are too big and all those kind of information. Okay, so let's deal with business logic here on product service, and then we're going to controllers to finalize this, and then we're going to test adding the product. Let me explain, because I didn't want to write a lot of things here and waste a lot of time. So first, make sure you, in Prisma module, you import, in product module, you import Prisma, because we're going to interact with it, and also media module. Good. After that, add those in the constructor of that product service. Okay, and now we'll explain here what I've done. Okay, so in create, we're going to expect these parameters, the product detail and the files. Okay, these are going to be a list of files, because we're going to have multiple images. We're going to allow to add multiple images, and after that, this, what it's doing is it's going to get all of those files. Because of the list, we're going to use promise.all and then map those one by one and pass them to this upload image, and then they're going to be deployed. We're going to get the URL, and then the same to another image, to another image, to another image, to another image. Okay, so this promise.all is just to make sure everything has been processed, and then you're going to get here a list of string. Okay, so a weighted list of string. Good. So here we are making sure all the images are being uploaded to Cloudinary, and then we're going to get back the URL now. After that, then we're going to deal with adding that product to our database. So as you already remember, in Prisma we can use that create Prisma.product, the database, and then create. You pass on the data, and all of these are the data that we need, remember, based on our schema. And then with the help of create product detail, we're going to get all these values, and if they pass up to here, it means they are in a good format, they're in the format that we want. And here in category ID, because all primary IDs are in integer format, we need to pass int. This just help our JavaScript stuffs, which pass this into an int, the category ID. Okay, and then also we are going to add those images to our product image table. So this is a list of strings, so mean you are going to map and add those URL to our images table. Okay, and lastly, what include does, it's if we have some kind of relationship between one table and another, you can have this include, which it will just join. If for those who know SQL stuffs, statement to join tables. So include, it means it will join, and in the response it will also give you back the table that you joined. So we say include that table, but on giving me back, just give me the URL. So you're going to see that format. So in here it means we're going to have all those information that we store plus the URL in string format of those images that are available on Cloudinary. Okay, that's it. So, and after that we return the product. So that's it. It may be not too much understandable at first, but once you go through with it, you will understand. It's just a simple steps, and this also teaches you how to connect two tables, and doing those kind of data manipulations and SQL stuffs or database manipulation stuffs. Okay, so this is good because with the help of Prisma, things become much, the syntax itself become much easier to understand. Okay, and work with it. So in the business service, in the business logic for creating the product is done. Now what we need is we are going to go to controllers. We are going to heavily use interceptors. We're going to see and those how to use interceptors to manage this file upload and get those images, validating them, and also passing them also here on this business logic. So we're going to see how we're going to ensure that images are not above a certain limit in terms of size, also are in a format that we know and we describe, because we don't want someone to pass .csv or .pdf or anything that is not an image. So we're going to see how we can add a custom validator that will validate all incoming requests for the image side and process and validating them if they're in a format that we need. Okay, so let's go to the controllers and let's see how we're going to handle file upload, because here it's done. It's going to get those files and then it's going to store them on Cloudinary, but we need to go to controllers to add those interceptors to process those files and make sure they're in a good format before passing them to product service. Okay, go to controllers, and as you know, controllers, this is where we will process or take incoming requests that are coming from the web. So they will process this request, and if there's any validations or anything to validate and make sure they're okay, we will pass them on to our product service to handle the business logic of uploading the files to Cloudinary, retrieving the URL, and also create a product on our database. So in order to deal with here, we are not only dealing with only in taking the information, we are also dealing in getting files. So in order to handle files, there are a couple of ways we need to go through. So we will use interceptors. Interceptors in NestJS is just in a normal, it's like middleware. They process something before it reaches to its final destination. So before it goes to product service, in our example here, we will process those informations, and here we are going mainly focusing on processing the files themselves, and then we go to we also validating and checking if those files are in good format or in format that we specify. Okay, so the first thing is you're going to use interceptor. Okay, you're going to use interceptors. Okay, and here what we're going to we are telling Nest we are using an interceptor here, and we are going to use an interceptor called file fields interceptor, because we are dealing with multiple images. So we will giving the capability to process those files before passing them to another step. Okay, so in our request, we are going to call this field images. Okay, we're going to see, we can say max count to 3 maybe. You can specify here, and it's complaining, of course, because it's TypeScript. Let's say any. Okay, field file. Okay, so here the interceptor will check this images field if it contain upload files, and then they will process those files, and then they will pass on to another step. And also, after getting those files from the image field, we are going to use upload files, which will be responsible to extract that file. Okay, uploaded files. Okay, and here we're going to add our custom validator. I'll explain it to you now. File type validation pipe. Okay, I'm going to explain what is it, and I think some ESLint validation pipe. Okay, and then files, the images. Okay, here it's Express, Multer, and it's a list of file. So let's it's complaining. Anyways, so what we're doing here is we are checking, we are processing these files, and then I need to fix this. Okay, so what we're doing here, we're processing these files, and then we're going to pass them to our files, and then they're in .images. Okay, or we will pass an empty string. So remember here, it expects also list of files. Okay, so we use an interceptor, we check these images, if it contains the files, we process that, and we pass into the uploaded files here, decorator, which we add a custom validator. I'll explain to you now. This custom validator is just to make sure these files are in a format that we want, and then we will process, we will put those files on our create, pass them on, and then they will be processed here to upload them to Cloudinary. Okay, so this file type validation pipe, main function is just to, its main job is to check these files. First, we're checking if the maximum, it doesn't exceed the maximum file size, which is here is 2 MB, right? And then we will check if it's in this format, PNG, JPG, or JPG. Okay, so if it doesn't contain this kind of extension, maybe if we uploaded the PDF, this must throw exception and not process this. Okay, so it's just for more security and making sure the files are in good format. Okay, so that's the simple way of doing it, but there are other methods, other ways. Okay, you can go and check their documentation on NestJS on how to handle files. So with this being ready, now it's time to test this if it's working in a way that we explained here. Okay, so is a string, where is it, product detail, oh sorry, okay, good. Now everything is fine. Let's go to our Postman and test this. So just put this in a form data because we're dealing with files and you cannot put them in a raw or in a JSON format. Okay, so this is you click this form data and then it will be in the form data, and here there's specifying, is it a form, is it normal text or a file. So add all this because this is what our DTO expect, and pass here the value. Let's say we want Samsung. Okay, I'm going to expand the price. Let's put 1,000, let's assume in dollars. Description, this is the best Samsung phone. Stock, we are adding this 100 Samsung. So I want to get it is a category ID. We are going to put it in electronics, so we're going to put here 2, and in files you have to, when you add this, in our interceptors is expecting this field to be a file, so you must make sure you put it in a file format and you upload. So we can put the first Samsung, also another one, because we can have 2. We can have multiple images, but I'm going to leave them with 2 files, and then we hit this endpoint and check if everything is working fine. Good. Now this is good. So now our images has been uploaded to Cloudinary. We have this URL and also the information. So this URL, if you go and check it on the okay, I need to check. If you go and check it here on the web, it will show this image. So beautiful, right? Beautiful. So this is good. And also there's this similar approach you can use for AWS. Okay, so if you don't want to save those files on your own server, you can use those cloud platform for handling you to manage your files, so you don't have to worry in terms of if the server will be filled with a huge media or huge information of your files. So this is good. It means it's working fine. And yeah, so if we try to see if it's really working, we can Samsung S20. I want to check if our validations are working fine. Let's say, okay, so let's put this one. Let's try it. So let's put this and see. So it will process the files and it will also return to us that invalid file type application zip. Okay, allowed types are this. So it's even the validations are working fine. So this is good. Okay, so this is how you upload files, handle files in NestJS. Okay, and also you can configure, I think, Multer if you want to save those files on your own server. It means maybe it can be in this same folder and you can call uploads or anything. Okay, for scenarios where there's not going to be a lot of files, so you don't need maybe a platform to handle for you. Okay, so now let's retrieve all of our product with very simple we know how to fetch all those information. Okay, how to retrieve our product. I believe it's quite simple thing to do now, because we see all examples of how to interact with our database using Prisma. Okay, so here we are expecting to return a list of product from Prisma client, and then yeah, so we need to just do normal database manipulation here, fetching all. So expect product is equal to await this Prisma dot product dot find many. So there are a lot of things: find first, find unique, find author. You can play around with them and see. Okay, so here we need to do a bit of filtering. Okay, so this second like filters. So we need to telling Prisma get me all the product. Okay, so when we say include, we are telling it there's a kind of a relationship happening here between product and the product image. So include the product image and only select the URL. Okay, so we say it to true. So it's like join in SQL. Join, it means you check if there are some kind of relationship. It will join, so it will also return false. So it means go to the product image table, give me the URL. So in product image table, when you say include, it will mean all the product image that they are associated with this. So we add the product ID, if you remember, on schema here, on the schema here. So each time we save the product image, we add its product ID, and then we add a relationship here. Okay, so that's how it is. Okay, so when you do include, it means you add a table that has some kind of foreign key, and they are they are connected each other, so using that ID. Okay, so you can say we will do also proper way to handle errors with interceptors and all those kind of stuffs. Even to return this kind of information, we need to put it in a format that it is in a very consistent manner. So on the endpoint, on our API, it will make sense. Okay, and it will simplify also to have common way of fetching information, which will be good for the endpoint, for the front end to have some professional way of handling all the data and errors. So here it's just simple if there's no product. Yeah, so for now that's it. Okay, so let's go to controller, and then we will get all those products. Okay, I think we don't need to add anything here. Let's go to here, and then let's put it in a new, and then let's test this. Okay, get all products and see. Wow, good. So it will return for us the product and the URLs. So we will use this to show the image on our front end. Okay, so we'll see when we go to mobile part and fetch all this kind of information. So for now, this is good. It is very good. So what we will do, we will stop from the backend development from here. We will go to mobile and integrate all this, and then we will finalize with the order on the backend, and then we'll finalize it also on the mobile. So we are going to move to the mobile side And as I said, we're going to learn a lot of things, a lot of modern technologies and also a professional way of handling files. We're going to see folder structure, feature based. So it means we're going to really dive in a professional way to make sure our code are clean and well written in a very good structure. Okay, so now in the backend we can stop for now. We will go to the front end mobile side, and then we will integrate to get all of this kind of information for a user to see. And then we will you can add to CRUD to see how to implement CRUD system to get all the product quantities and all those kind of information. And then we will go back to the backend side. We will finalize the order process, the order module, handling all the necessary stuffs, address, order ID, order details, and all that. Okay.